Hi everybody, welcome back to Hot News. It is Monday. It's actually Monday, not like I said it was Friday and we released the Hot News on Sunday. Anyways, that's besides the point. Today's Hot News is not sponsored by anybody, but I wanted to inform you that our friend Son of a Tech over at his channel Son of a Tech is actually running a giveaway right now for a GTX 1063 gig or a GT 1030. We're going to include the link in the video description if you guys want to be interested in winning one of those graphics cards. It's not sponsored, just wanted to give a friendly little shout out to somebody who's been very kind for the channel. Enjoy that. So with that being said, let's jump into today's Hot News. All right, well, let's start off today's hot news with a little bit of cringe, because I think that's the proper way to move forward. So I've been playing Spider-Man all weekend, been thoroughly enjoying it. I know it's a console game, but I mean single-player experiences. I'm about gameplay more than I'm about graphics. Anyways, so let's talk about the world's saddest Easter egg hidden in Spider-Man. Apparently, there was some dude on Twitter who tweeted at Insomniac Games to see if they could put in a marriage proposal into Spider-Man saying, Madison, will you marry me? It came out, Maddie, will you marry me in the actual game? And they agreed to it after a long back and forth on Twitter, but it turns out before the game was even released, his bride-to-be had broken up with him and gotten together with his brother. So now it's just a testament to the world's cringiest little Easter egg asking Maddie, will you marry me? And she basically said, no, I'm gonna be with your brother instead. That's really rough. Sorry, dude. They are apparently working on patching it out, and they're in discussion with the original guy to maybe change the message to be about cancer and cancer research, since originally he got into Spider-Man because his grandma was dying and it helped him through that rough time. So turning something really painful into a positive experience for everybody. So good job, Insomniac Games, for caring about your people. Maybe don't do it in something that gets released months later. So speaking of getting with somebody's brother, terrible transition, I'm talking about cheating and whatever. Apparently the Spider-Man thing wasn't cheating, like she got together with him after they broke. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, Huawei has actually been cheating on their benchmarks for their mobile phones, kind of like how Volkswagen actually cheated emission standards by knowing whether or not the device was actually being tested and unlocking an additional power mode that doesn't exist any other time you actually use the device. So even in games, when it's also using high levels of CPU and GPU, you don't get the same level of performance out of your Huawei device. They actually admitted to cheating, and a lot of this is actually coming out of an non-tech expose that they did discussing all of the issues that Huawei, they're just basically giving you a performance mode so that they can get higher numbers on things like Geekbench, as well as specifically what we're talking about today is UL benchmarks, which make 3D Mark, Time Spy, all of those like other ones that they have that are for mobile devices. I don't even know what they're called, but that's not the point. UL Benchmarks has officially removed every single Huawei device from their benchmarks because of the cheating allegations that has come against them. Not so much allegations, since Huawei has actually admitted to it. So just so you know, like when you think Huawei is actually a good phone because of its benchmarks compared to other people, it's not replicatable on an everyday user experience, which is kind of bad. Obviously, this can lead to other people examining whether or not other phone manufacturers may be cheating, so we might see more down the line. Just like with the Volkswagen thing, they found out that Mercedes and BMW also were violating diesel standards when it came to testing the car's emissions on a dyno versus in real-world scenarios. So maybe there might be other things. So let's not just crap on Huawei. It could be that your favorite smartphone manufacturer might be crapped on as well. So we'll have to see. We'll see where this goes, if anything else develops. But bad move, Huawei. If you haven't seen the episode of Black Mirror called Metalhead, you might not want to watch it after we found out that apparently the Pentagon is committing to spending $2 billion on investing in AI development for their weapons. So we're gonna have computer-driven weapons that are here to kill us, just like the episode of Metalhead where they just go roaming around shooting and killing everybody. This is a terrifying future. Obviously, there are benign uses of AI that just help make decisions where humans might be too slow or might not be accurate enough. But anytime we hand over our autonomy, especially when it comes to life-ending things, I'm a little skeptical about whether or not it could potentially go further, but basically Terminator's here. Pentagon's assuring us of that, and they're just gonna keep spending money on it because we need to kill more people smarter. In some interesting news for electric vehicles, the only other US-based car company to not go bankrupt, which Tesla and now Ford, has announced that they're upping their spending on electric vehicles to $11 billion. And in fact, they released a teaser image of their first all-electric vehicle concept called the Mach 1. It kind of just looks like a Mustang. Hopefully it will be fast like a Tesla and also be really cool because more companies getting involved on it. Switching over to electric cars hopefully is good. I'm saying things. Let's see where this goes. So the fourth most popular app on the Mac OS store, which is an ad blocker, it's called Dr. Adware Doctor, scratch that, reverse it, is apparently not necessarily all that great for your Mac device because not only are they actually disabling ads like they said, they're sending all of your browsing data back to China. Apparently. That was discovered recently and Apple has now removed that from their app store, but one of the most popular ad blockers on Mac was trading your secrets for the fact that you weren't paying other people. So you were paying them through them selling your information. So either way, there's no such thing as a free lunch, folks. Now let's go ahead and talk about some Nvidia news, not to the extent that we've been talking about it because this doesn't necessarily concern the 20 series, it's more about the 10 series, and that is Nvidia in a conference call that their CFO gave on Friday. They discussed actually selling the 10 series alongside the 20 series at least through the end of the year. This is something that we actually was highly rumored to be discussed, that Nvidia still has a huge overstock of 10 series cards that they need to get rid of, which is also their incentive for selling the RTX 20 series at such a high price so that they don't take away from the market share of the 1080 Ti and below. And with the 1080 Ti basically costing the same as an RTX 2070, it kind of makes for a weird place of like, do you go for the RTX card or do you go for the 1080 Ti? Well, apparently that's intentional on Nvidia's part because they want to sell it to us for the rest of the year. So I wouldn't hold your breath for actually getting a 2050 or 2050 Ti or any sort of affordable ray tracing card because Nvidia is still trying to clear stock of all of their 10 series because they mistakenly bet big on mining when everybody could have seen with the 10-foot pole that it was actually going down the drain. So my official stance doesn't change. RTX cards are going to be there, going to be very expensive. The 1080 Ti, especially on sale, is going to be a very attractive offer. $500 to $600 would be a great price. Hopefully we'll see it for the holidays. Great Black Friday sales. Pick up a 1080 Ti for $500. Yes, please. Maybe $400. I'd love that. Maybe on the used market. We'll see. And one of probably the saddest news that I'm reporting about AMD recently, that new $55 Ryzen Vega combo APU that they have that's supposed to compete with Pentium's is not going to be overclockable, the 200GE as it is called, which, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, totally, I can understand they don't have to give us overclocking, but like one of the huge like advantages that I've seen in all of the Ryzen lineup, the 2700 is overclockable as much as the 2700X is, which is a fantastic value add that AMD gives to all of their consumers. The fact that the 200GE at its great price point also doesn't include overclocking kind of takes away from one of the advantages that I thought AMD had over Intel, especially here on the low end SKU. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense as to why they would do this, in my opinion, because this isn't infringing on the Ryzen 3 lineup at all, since every Ryzen 3 is at least 4 cores and this 200GE is 2 cores and 4 threads. So they're two different product segments already. The price differentiator is also really good. I don't understand why there's no overclocking. But I mean, it's not something that I would complain about. It's just something that I thought they could provide as a value add. And now that they don't have it, there's like, going Intel is just as viable if you want to get out of the box performance because you can't overclock with AMD. Then in news that doesn't matter to anybody outside of South Africa, but is actually a pretty big deal for me and hopefully a lot of you as well, is the fact that we, for a very long time, have not been able to get good like capture card devices because Elgato was never brought into the country, the Ripsaw was always super expensive, and AverMedia is just like kind of nowhere to be found usually. Well, it appears thanks to their merger between Corsair and Elgato themselves, Corsair is actually bringing in Elgato streaming devices. You can see a few of them listed on Wootware. You have the Cam Link, you have the Elgato 4K 60 Pro, and the Stream Deck Mini as of right now. I don't know if they're going to be adding more devices to the future lineup, but those three things, very big additions in my opinion, and I'm very thankful that we have them. So thank you Wootware for listing them, and here we go. Corsair, Elgato, bringing benefits to people in South Africa as well. And now we have some practical applications of a news that we reported about a while ago in Hot News, and that's the 25% import tariff tax going on to computer components, which is now actually going to affect certain manufacturers. One of the benefits, I think, of computer components is that they are either usually manufactured in China or Taiwan, and there's no tariff that's being applied to Taiwan, so you could like rebrand it as coming from Taiwan, and so certain companies could get around it. But it appears that Apple is confirming that the products such as their watch, their AirPods, and their HomePod are going to go up because of the 25% tariff, because those are explicitly manufactured in China. President Trump even responded to this, saying that there would be no tariff if they would just build manufacturing plants in the United States. I don't want to discuss whether or not that's actually financially viable for them, but it appears that Apple products are going to be more expensive than they once were, which is a sad thing for everybody. Or it's a good thing because they get to maintain their premium look. I don't know, either side of the coin. Speaking of mobile devices, Fortnite on Android has actually already been installed on 15 million devices, which doesn't sound like a huge number, but that is without the Google Play Store. You have to externally download these. So the fact that they've already hit 15 million since their launch is a pretty big accomplishment. You can check out a whole lot of technical information on their Fortnite on Android launch technical blog, where they detail the issues of going versus OpenGL versus Vulkan on the mobile platform and everything that's come about with that, or how like Samsung devices perform better on Vulkan, but the rest of the product lineup doesn't really because Vulkan's more complex. Anyways, technical stuff on Fortnite, if you care at all, link in the description. There's actually some interesting benchmark leaks on the Razer Phone 2, which we like found out was actually getting made like last week, and now there's like benchmarks on it. I don't understand. Like they might be a lot closer to release than we thought they were, but it appears that it has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 845, has an Adreno 630 GPU, comes with 8 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, which is fantastic. It has the same 1440p display and got a score of 283,397 in the AnTuTu benchmark. Well, I don't have anything to compare that to, but good job, Razer. Speaking of leaks, we actually have some Leak Geek bench scores of the upcoming Coffee Lake refresh trips of the i7 9700K, the i9 9900K, and the i5 9600K. We actually compared that to our numbers that we're running on our 8700K, and the results are quite interesting. So our 8700K is clocked at 5 gigahertz with 3200 megahertz RAM and scored 5,971 in the single core score and 26,110 in the multi-core score. The 9700K and the 9900K both have single core scores that are 5% better, but the weird thing is their multi-core score is like way off the charts. Like the 9700K has 15% better multi-core score than the 8700K at 5 gigahertz, even though it has less threads, but more physical cores. Not sure that's a 15% increase there. Maybe it actually is, because I mean, it's 33% more. No, it has 33% more physical cores. Math doesn't add up for me there. And then the 9900K has a 26% better multi-core score, but that's also because it actually does have more physical cores and threads. 8 cores, 16 threads is the rumored specification. But then the 9600K is just below the 8600K in multi-core score, which again, that was likely because it'll be 6 cores and 6 threads, which is less than the 8700K. So there we go. Whether or not these are real, we don't know. What the clock speeds were, we don't know. We don't know a whole lot of variables around it. It does seem like Coffee Lake refresh will be faster, but how much faster and what kind of overclocking you can get remains to be seen, although all of the leaked indications seem to be that we'll be able to at least hit 5 gigahertz, if not above, just like we were with Coffee Lake, but just a little bit better. Now there's some potential news of EA trying to screw over their customers yet again with Battlefield 5, although it's since been corrected. So there was a post on their website for Battlefield 5 talking about the different editions of the game, on which they revealed that the Battle Royale mode called Firestorm would not actually be available on the standard edition. So they had a horizontal line instead of a check mark like they do for the deluxe edition, which would mean that you would have to pay more in order for you to get the Battle Royale edition, which like everybody's been wanting to play. But then after some community backlash and people actually discussing it, it looks like EA has updated their product page to show that it indeed does come with the standard edition. Whether or not that was the original plan or if they were actually trying to screw us over, I mean, you can't know unless they come out and comment about it. But given EA's history with games, multiplayer settings, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt here. I think that was an intentional move. They thought they could get people to buy the Battle Royale mode in the deluxe edition, which is an absolute garbage move. Stop it, EA. Stop being garbage, please. And then let's talk about Battlefield 5's. The actual Firestorm mode is actually not being made made by DICE itself. It's being made by Criterion Games, which is known for the Burnout racing games. So we'll have to see if it's any good. It's going to be markedly different because it's not being made by the same developers. So we'll see how it turns out. And that's going to wrap up all the hot news that we have today. Let me know what you thought of any of the stories we covered, whether it be that sad Spider-Man proposal, whether it be the 10 series being sold throughout the rest of the year, or, you know, EA screwing us over with Battlefield, because that's just an EA thing to do. Let's chat about any and all of that down in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out Son of a Tech's giveaway if you're interested in winning a GTX 1060. It is only valid for US people, but I mean, he's giving away a graphics card, so don't complain about free things. Anyways, smash the like button if you enjoyed today's hot news. Get subscribed to stay up to date for all of our tech-related content. That's the words I'm looking for. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see your smiling faces in the next video. Love you too.